Jack Riccardi, 10 to 1, 550 KTSA.
KTSA News Time is 10:08. Good morning. It is Friday, September 17th, 2010. The weekend is here, and that means Gang of Four. 90 minutes worth of Gang of Four, the big stories of the day and the week with our gang. We're going to meet them and get started right away here. You can jump right in the middle of it. Vote in today's JR poll at 599-5555, or you can get the poll on the Jack Riccardi page at ktsa.com, where it's powered by Womack Chevrolet. On the Gang of Four today, he really is an international man of mystery. He has been globe-trotting. He is planning and plotting trips and tourism and secret assignments, and we just happen to catch him while he's here in San Antonio, just passing through town. Dan Rivas. Dan, good morning to you.
Good morning, Jack.
Now, when we first had you on the show, you were a private investigator.
Right, yeah, I'm retired.
You do any of that anymore?
I take on a special project every now and then.
Any special projects right now?
One.
Okay, so if there's a change of government somewhere in the world this weekend, guys, Dan Rivas' special project. All right, we're glad to have you on the gang, Dan, and hello to all of your family members that are listening today, right?
Right, hello, and have you ever noticed that no one really pays attention to you until you fart?
Yes, I have noticed that, and
it's come.
That's
to
why
that
no one ever pays attention to me.
But no, I'm looking forward to this little project.
Let me just write down awkward silence number 1 with Dan Rivas. Okay,
and we'll just go from there.
All right, Dan. Well, welcome back to Gang of Four. Also with us today, he's a comedian and an entertainer. He also is always on the road, always on the go, but we caught him here in San Antonio. Jade Esteban Estrada, welcome
Hi.
back to the gang.
Thank you so much. It's
What is new with you?
A pleasure. Today's my birthday.
Happy birthday.
Your producer called me today. I was like, hey, can you come in? I was like, oh, why not? I get a birthday appearance.
Now, I'm not going to ask, but is this like a
I
landmark birthday?
I love that you said that, because in my head I visualized the whole conversation.
No, I'm not going to ask.
I love that about you, that you know.
I mean, I wouldn't tell you mine.
Oh, okay.
So, hey.
I thought it was just a gay guy thing. I guess
Anyway.
metrosexuals are like that.
Number 2.
And counting.
So, is it a landmark birthday or just
it's a landmark birthday?
It's a landmark
It's a
birthday.
landmark,
All right.
in a lot of ways, I'm actually running the marathon this year for the first time ever. So I'm doing things here and there that I was like, I never thought I would do. I always said I wouldn't do, and that's one of them.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that I'm doing differently. I think.
And you must be running out of things to do, Jade. If like on your list of things you've never done is the marathon. I mean.
Well, I don't know. I always swore that I wouldn't do it, and I just think it's been a very interesting training experience so far. It's really challenged me because I have done a lot of stuff, and that's one thing I've never done, and so I'm really excited.
All right, we'll find out more about that and the comedy gigs and all that as we talk to Jade here this morning. Joining us for the first time on Gang of Four today, and we're glad to have him, is the Democratic candidate for Texas House District number 122, Dr. Masarat Ali. Dr. Ali, welcome to Gang of Four.
Good morning.
I hope you will not regret this decision to come in today. We'll get to know you a little bit better as the morning goes on, but you are a doctor, you're a medical doctor. This is your first run for political office?
Yes, it is.
And why this year? Why this office? Why now?
Well, sometime I have been wondering myself, how did I get trapped into this?
You'd like the answer yourself there, okay.
Yes. I think it's coming for the last 2 years. I have been getting more and more involved in the political affairs of more or less our city and the state, and more or less what is going on in the country. And in 2008, somehow I got into being a precinct chair, and that kind of brought me into the politics. Get to know people more, what their issues are. I'm a scientist, and most of the time busy in the lab, meeting my own kinds, and never had any opportunity to go and talk to the people.
Politics must be the opposite of science,
It is.
right?
And but here I am, and I think there was issues that needed to be handled in the district. And so I said, my district 122 has been represented by Frank Cord for the last 16 years, and there are some open issues that were not being taken care. People were getting kind of frustrated on them. So I said to myself, instead of waiting for somebody else, why don't I be that change that I want to bring in the district? So I offered myself, and here I am.
And here you are. And we'll talk more about that as we go on Gang of Four today on News Talk 550 KTSA. Well, let's start with politics. Obviously, a big story this week has been the continued success in race after race and primary after primary of these Tea Party candidates around the country. What about this Tea Party? Is it good for the country, bad for the country? Is it restorative of our politics, destructive of our politics? Is it here to stay, or is it a passing fad? Jade, what do we think?
I think it's a fad, but I think it's something that needed to happen. I think it's something that's it's like Lady Gaga. It's gonna make us big.
The Tea Party is like Lady Gaga.
Quote me,
says.
please quote me, and spell my name right. No, it
can't sing, but it looks great.
Exactly, I love
right.
that. You said that part, but I think it's something that's gonna peak. And then, because we had so many things, so many issues that I think the GOP needed. The GOP is not a bad thing. I'm a Democrat, and I'll be the first person to say it's not a bad thing. But when it gets abused and not, it doesn't have proper leadership, things like Tea Parties happen. And I think they're going to develop their own superstars, which obviously they have, and they find new ideas. I mean, just like Dr. Ali is saying, and he's seen lots of voids where he thinks he can fill in some of the, have some answers, have a fresh pair of eyes coming from science. I think there's a great parallel in the role of the Tea Parties politically these days.
Well, Dr. Ali, we're seeing so many people like you getting involved for the first time, or running for the first time, or voting for the first time. How can it be a fad? I mean, it seems to me like if people get involved, you're saying, look, once I started doing that precinct work, I was hooked, I was drawn in. It seems to me this is something that's here to stay.
I think so. For too long, this country has had, just the blue and the red. And people are getting sick and tired of just having no options. And sometimes, this is the problem, that many of the incumbents have been there for too long. They take the constituents for a ride, and they don't think they have any options. So I think Tea Party or any other party, they bring a very interesting options on the table. And I think the party will evolve, and they will bring certain good candidates. I think something good will come out of it.
Dan, we've been looking for years and years at a Washington, D.C. that says live it up now and let somebody else worry about paying for it later. Both parties have done it. How does the Tea Party fit in?
Well, I agree with Dr. Ali. I kind of changed my tune a little bit last year. We need to vote for the person that is best suited for the job. Simple as that. The person that's going to represent our interests, not their own interests, or just try to get reelected. Frankly, I don't care if that person is a Democrat or Republican or a Libertarian or Green Party or whatever. If that person is the best person for the job and is representing what I want to see happen, then I'm going to vote for him. And I think that's what the American people are starting to lean to now, because there have been some Republicans kicked out of office. Good example is Mike Castle over in Delaware this week. He's been a professional politician for 20 years, something like that. More than that. And did you see his reaction after he lost? His reaction was he blamed it on talk radio, he blamed it on everybody but himself, but more importantly, he blamed it on the people that didn't vote for him.
Right.
So he just turned on them. That tells you that's the type of politician that we need to get rid of.
Well,
Henry Gonzalez, are you listening?
The political parties don't get this either.
No, they don't.
This week, after Christine O'Donnell, the Tea Party candidate, won the Delaware primary, the Republicans initially snubbed her and said they wouldn't give her the standard funding from their national campaign committee that they give their primary winners, all of their primary winners. So much firestorm greeted that within a day, John Cornyn, the chairman of that committee, had to reverse that decision. What is it they don't get about this Tea Party, Jay?